paper champion. I hear people using that all the time, but they use it for fighters like Devin and so on and so forth. But let's talk about what a paper champion actually is by definition. Let's talk.
Straighter, not a roundhouse right hand.
And that's what we've been talking about. The straight shot is the one where he gets leverage on it.
I don't want to kill
Pull
somebody
back
for
a little bit.
seconds.
Nah, I want a body on my record.
Now, I want to see you fight motherfuckers. I do. All right, I'm with you. I'm with you. As long as you're trying to fight the great, the best competition.
Welcome to the graveyard. Click the link if you dare to. Bury you alive, I'm prepared to. Welcome to the graveyard. You get your sources from clowns, so when you come around, we don't hear you. Welcome to the graveyard. Click the link if you dare to. Bury you alive, I'm prepared to. Welcome to the graveyard. You get your sources from clowns, so when you come around, we don't hear you. Yo, it's the best, fight the best. If you ain't with the moto, just click the link, bitch, and get buried like the rest. It ain't gonna work how you want it. These trolls already tried, too many come but don't leave. So if you hear, you gotta die. I'm spitting straight facts. These bitches crying cause they hate that. The LDBC's the top topic, bitch, hate that. We the ones that bring the truth to these fans. So while you hate, I'ma laugh and keep counting these bands. Welcome to the graveyard. Click the link, get the dance. Bury you alive, I'm prepared to. Welcome to the graveyard. You get your sources from clowns, so when you come around, we don't hear you. Welcome to the graveyard. Click the link if you dare to. Bury you alive, I'm prepared to. Welcome to the graveyard. You get your sources from clowns, so when you come around, we don't hear you.
Welcome to the graveyard.
So I'm constantly hearing people talking about a paper champion. Devin's a paper champion. This Deontay Wilder is a paper champion. They said it a lot for Wilder. He's a paper champion. He was always a paper champion. That's what they said. And they said Devin is a paper champion. Well, let's just take a peek at what a paper champion is. Let's read this together. A paper champion is a boxing champion who is considered to be a false champion or a champion only on paper. Reasons for being called a paper champion are not fighting challenging opponents, fighting very little, or not gaining the belt by knocking out a champion. So, if those are the reasons now, not fighting challenging opponents, not knocking champions out, let's put those up here again. Challenging opponents. So challenging opponents, we say, who are the top guys in this division? Who are those top guys in the division? Did you fight any of those top guys in the division? Did you knock out any of those guys in the division? Are you fighting a lot or a little? Well, by the definition, there are some fighters who you can consider paper champions. There is others that you cannot. So let's just take a peek, shall we? So, Deontay Wilder was called a paper champion because they said he was not fighting challenging opponents. He was fighting bums, nothing but garbage fighters. That's what they said. Nothing but bums, because he was fighting a lot. He got the belt by knocking out a champion. So The only thing that they can use is to say that he was fighting bums. That's what they use. When Deontay Wilder won the WBC title, he won it by beating Bermane Stiverne, who was the #1 ranked fighter in WBC and the mandatory to Vitaly Klitschko. He begged Vitaly Klitschko not to retire, to fight him. Vitaly Klitschko retired anyway. Deontay Wilder fought that Bermane Stiverne. The Bermane Stiverne who won his belt, #1, fought #2, Chris Arreola, and won a vacant belt. So if you want to call someone a paper champion because they fought for a vacant belt, it could be Bermane Stiverne, but not even that because Chris Arreola was #2. So he doesn't fall in that criteria. So when Deontay Wilder beat Bermane Stiverne was the champion. He beat him on points. So you could say, oh, Wilder's he's a paper champion because he did not knock Bermane Stiverne out. But then he fought him in a rematch and knocked him out. The same exact person. He dropped him in that fight too, but he knocked him out in the rematch. So, okay. When Deontay Wilder fought, his first title defense was Eric Molina. Eric Molina was ranked like, what, #7, 8? He was top 10. He was top 10 in the WBC. He was on a 5-fight win streak, like 4 knockouts. Top 10 when Deontay Wilder fought him. He was not top 10 when he fought Anthony Joshua the next year. When he fought his second title defense against Johan Duhaupas, Johan Duhaupas was top 10. He was not top 10 when he fought Alexander Povetkin the following year. When Deontay Wilder fought Artur Szpilka in his third title defense, Artur Szpilka was top 5. #4, if I'm not mistaken. He was not top 10 when he fought Adam Kownacki the following year. And everybody gave him all praise for that Adam Kownacki. They gave Adam Kownacki praise. Adam Kownacki jumped. He was all the man when he beat Szpilka the following year. When Deontay Wilder fought Chris Arreola next, a guy who fought Vitaly Klitschko, who fought Bermane Stiverne. When he fought Chris Arreola in another title defense, he was top 10 when he fought Deontay Wilder. He was not top 10 when he fought Adam Kownacki like 3 years later. Everybody praised him for the Adam Kownacki fight, but he was not top 10 when he fought him 3 years later. When Deontay Wilder fought Gerald Washington, he was top 10. People said Deontay Wilder would not fight Gerald Washington. Oh, he don't fight top guys like that. Deontay Wilder knocked Gerald Washington out. In Gerald Washington's next fight, he fought Jarrell Miller. Jarrell Miller stopped him in the 8th round. Wilder stopped him in the 5th. Jarrell Miller said, oh, I'm out here fighting these tough competitions and everybody else is fighting these bums. I'm out here fighting tough guys. I need to get my shot. This is fighting Gerald Washington, the guy that Wilder just knocked out. Y'all praise Jarrell Miller, talking for him fighting tough competition. At his next fight, he knocked out Bermane Stiverne to clear up that didn't knock out a champion thing. Clear that up. After that, he fought Luis King Kong Ortiz, undefeated Cuban southpaw, the most ducked man in the heavyweight division at that time. Deontay Wilder fought him, knocked him out. His next fights consisted of 3 Fury fights, another Ortiz fight, and his mandatory in Brazil. Tyson Fury at the time was looked at as the man. Wilder fought him 3 times. King Kong Ortiz was looked at as the boogeyman. Wilder fought him twice. But yet y'all call him a paper champion. And the only thing that you'll come back and say to me is, oh, well, what happened when he fought Fury? What happened? He lost to Fury. Irrelevant. Irrelevant if he lost to Fury. Don't worry, I'll speak about Fury because we're talking about paper champions. That's what we're talking about. And if you go back and look at the definition, nowhere in there does it say anything about losing to a fighter. Does not say that. It says the reasons for being called a paper champion are not fighting challenging opponents, fighting very little, or not gaining the belt by knocking out a champion. That's what it says. Not fighting challenging opponents is subjective. That's someone's opinion. The rankings say that you are what you are. The boogeyman at the time, the one that nobody wanted to fight, was Louis King Kong Ortiz. And Deontay Wilder fought him twice. Tyson Fury turned him down. Vladimir Klitschko turned him down. Anthony Joshua turned him down, only to claim he wanted to fight him years later after Wilder fought him twice. The other guy they say is a paper champion, Devin the Dream Haney. Let's look back at this definition. You're a paper champion because you're not fighting challenging opponents. You're fighting very little. You're not gaining the belt by knocking out a champion. When people talk about Devin as a paper champion, they talk about Devin as not knocking out the champion. Well, the reason why Devin didn't knock out the champion is because the champion ducked him. Vasyl Lomachenko was the champion. Devin was his mandatory. Vasyl Lomachenko got a belt that never existed in the history of boxing, the franchise title. That does not exist for every WBC champion in boxing. It only exists when a WBC wants to protect a specific fighter, i.e. Canelo or Lomachenko. Then they give you a franchise belt so that you don't have to fight no mandatories. So Devin was elevated to the WBC champion. That's what he was. But when Devin became the WBC interim champion, prior to him being elevated, he fought Zaur Abduliev for the WBC interim title, and he knocked him out. So he won his belt by knockout. So the definition of paper champion again, not gaining the belt by knocking out a champion. Devin won his belt by stopping Zaur Abduliev. He became the WBC interim champion. Champion by default. If something happens to the regular champion, champion by default, the interim belt, he became that by knocking out Zaur Abduliev. That happened. So, what did Devin do after that? He fought top 10, undefeated Alfredo Santiago. Okay. He fought former multi-division champion Yuriorkis Gamboa in a voluntary 30-3. Top 10 universally recognized Jorge Linares, a former unified champion, a former multi-division champion Jorge Linares, 47 wins, knockout power. People talk about, oh, Linares hit Devin. It's boxing. He's supposed to get hit. But they only talk about one punch because Devin embarrassed him. That guy, the guy that dropped Lomachenko. Oh, but Lomachenko stopped him. No, but Lomachenko stopped him. Lomachenko did stop him. But Lomachenko fought him too, to stop him. He refused to fight Devin Haney. Maybe y'all missed that part. He then went on to fight the WBC interim champion and his mandatory, Jojo Diaz. You know, he did what Lomachenko refused to do. He fought his mandatory, the WBC interim champion, Jojo Diaz. And he embarrassed him. That happened. His next fight was for undisputed. Undisputed. Then he rematched him for undisputed. And now he's fighting Lomachenko because Lomachenko became his mandatory. Does not meet the criteria of a paper champion. It doesn't meet the criteria of a paper champion at all. But again, we can say challenging opponents. You can use that. You can't use fighting very little, and you can't use by not by gaining his belt by knockout. If you don't want to, if you want to use, you want to say he didn't knock out Bozo. That's what you want to say. That's fine. That's fine. We can go that road. It's a bad road for you to go. But that's fine. He didn't knock out Bozo, but he was already a champion. He was already that. Jerron Boots Ennis became the IBF interim champion, aka champion in default, the same way as Devin Haney did, by beating a nigga named Karen. Did he knock him out? So, what you will be calling Jerron Boots Ennis is a paper champion. That's what you be calling Jerron Boots Ennis. A paper champ. By the definition, you'll be calling him a paper champion. Not gaining the belt by knocking out a champion. By the definition, you are calling Jerron Boots Ennis a paper champion. By that same definition, you are calling Canelo Alvarez a paper champion. Canelo Alvarez did not knock out Danny Jacobs for the IBF title. He did not knock out Caleb Smith for the WBC and WBA strap. He did not knock out Golovkin at 160 for those belts. He did not knock out Matthew Hatton for the WBC title at 154. He did not knock out Austin Trout for the WBA title at 154. He did not knock those guys out. So that makes Canelo Alvarez, by the definition, a paper champion. Okay, so again now, there's 3 criteria that they use. 3 criteria. Anybody can say that anybody fought bums because you can use your opinion and be biased and stupid and blah, 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 and say whatever you want to say. The ranking system, which I don't like, but the ranking system determines who is what. So we can talk about what they were ranked when they fought whomever, and we can remove that piece about not fighting challenging opponents. We can remove that piece out based on the rankings. We can remove that. We can remove out fighting very little. That too is subjective because you could say fighting very little is once a year. Or you could say fighting very little is 2 times a year. Or you could say fighting very little is 3 times a year. Or you could say fighting very little is 4 times a year. So we will say fighting very little is once a year. Once a year is what we will say. Because that is subjective, because it's opinionated, you could say 2 or 3 times a year is fighting very little. You could do that. We will remove fighting very little. But by the definition, the last part, which we can't remove, not knocking out the champion. Fine. Then Terrence Crawford was a paper champion at 135. He did not knock out Ricky Burns. Terrence Crawford was a paper champion at 140. He did not knock out Victor Postal. By the definition, don't look at me. I didn't make the definition up. You guys are running to me, wanting to tell me that Wilder was a paper champion, want to tell me that Devin Haney is a paper champion. That's what y'all want to tell me? Fine. Well, I'll use the rule. And according to the rules, Tyson Fury is a paper champion. He did not knock out Vladimir Klitschko. Oh, but he knocked out Deontay Wilder. No, you can't use that because if you're telling me Wilder's a paper champion, that's what you're telling me. You're telling me that Deontay Wilder was a paper champion. So you can't use Fury beating Wilder because according to y'all, Wilder was a paper champion. But by the rules, the definition, Tyson Fury beating Vladimir Klitschko makes Tyson Fury a paper champion. He did not knock this man out. So, by the rules, Alexander Usyk is a paper champion. He did not knock out Gassiev. He did not knock out Breedis. He did not knock out Glowacki. He did not knock out Anthony Joshua in the first or second fight. So, according to the definition, Alexander Usyk is a paper champion. The crazy part about this whole scenario is you guys call Deontay Wilder a paper champion. That's what you call him. Deontay Wilder, oh, he's a paper champion. He's a paper champion. The reality is Vitaly Klitschko beat Corey Sanders for a vacant WBC title. He did not beat Lennox Lewis. He is a paper champion.
Oh.
He did not knock out the champion. He did not gain the belt by knocking out the champion. Vitaly Klitschko is a paper champion. By the definition, he fought for a vacant title. That's what he did. Vacant title. So, whoever would have beat Vitaly Klitschko would have been a champion. You can't even use that because he was a paper champion. It would have been a champion. It would have been a fighter beating a paper champion. That's what it would have been because Vitaly Klitschko never beat Lennox Lewis. And even if y'all claim he did fight him, he did beat him in that fight, he didn't knock him out. Tyson Fury did not knock out Vladimir Klitschko. That's why people said, Max Kellerman included, really how you gain the belts is what Anthony Joshua did to Vladimir Klitschko. That's really gaining the belts, not what Tyson Fury did. That was one of the most boring fights ever, blah, 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 yada, yada. Yeah, that's Max Kellerman. So you might want to be careful when you start calling fighters paper champions until you do your research. Yeah. Deontay Wilder beat Bermane Stiverne twice. Stretched him. He dropped him both times and stretched him the second time. So, Devin Haney won a WBC interim title by stoppage. So, Teofimo Lopez did not stop Vasyl Lomachenko. So Teofimo Lopez was a paper champion. The only real champion at 135 is Devin Haney. Now, you could say Gervonta Tank Davis is a real champion at 135 because he stopped Gamboa. You can give him that, but it's a secondary belt. Not a main belt. It's a secondary belt. WBC title, the one that Devin Haney has, was the main title. So, the only champion, the only person who has a claim to not being called a paper champion at 135 is Devin Haney, by the definition. Don't get mad at me. This is what y'all wanted. I'm just giving you what you wanted. BFTB. Shout to the mighty LDBC. And I'm out.